the twists and turns in the European Super League drama continues, or coming towards the end, to be honest. We'll be discussing what's been happening in the European Super League. Just to kind of give a bit of context to what has happened since Sunday, there was news that came out of 12 teams that have agreed for a breakaway league, with Florentino Perez being the chairperson, with each club getting 200 or 350 million just for signing on, all being bankrolled by JP Morgan. And obviously they will also get another 400 million extra for infrastructure, which pretty much rocked the football world and everyone, even us on the show, as you saw from the previous video. What they initially showed us was that there will be two groups of 10 teams who will play each other's at home and away. Then we saw the response to this whole news that came out from the governing bodies, FIFA, UEFA. FIFA calling for bans of the players from these clubs for World Cup. UEFA coming out and potentially saying they will be kicking them out of Champions League and Europa League. And also the chairman saying a lot of the leaders of these clubs are snakes. Then we later had the Prime Minister of United Kingdom coming out and saying that he'll be doing all he can to stop this from happening. We also saw, following that, Florentino Perez coming out and giving his reasons why this is needed within the footballing community, and why, I mean, I don't even want to go into it too much because some of the reason he provided was so ridiculous. Following on from that, I mean, we saw a lot of coaches, players coming up. Bruno Fernandes, Jurgen Klopp. We had Pep Guardiola coming out, and really, pretty much their hands were tied. But you could clearly see that they were completely against it, but they couldn't say much as they didn't have all the information they required. Then we had the proposal of withdrawal from Chelsea, followed by an official withdrawal from Manchester City. Then we also heard the news about Ed Woodward resigning from Manchester United. I mean, we'll be discussing whether that's linked to this European Breakaway League. And then we had just coming in as we're recording this, that all 6 clubs from the Premier League have decided to withdraw from the European Breakaway League. Now, there's a lot of questions out there I'm sure we're all going to discuss in terms of, I mean, what it means for the contract that they've signed, which was a 23-year contract. What does it mean for the clubs? What happens now? What needs to happen? Should the owners be punished for breaching their football association contracts? I mean, there's so much going on that we need to really talk about. Just to start off, really, Adi, what's your take on the 6 clubs coming out and withdrawing from the competition?
Yeah, I think they had no choice. Once it's like a pack of cards. Once Chelsea and Manchester City, made their intentions known, the rest had no choice, and it's pretty obvious. I mean, I think from the beginning, everyone knows the main antagonists of this whole thing has been Real Madrid, Juventus. And obviously Liverpool, Manchester United, Arsenal, and Tottenham. So it's no surprise in a way that City and Chelsea pulled out, because they were never bigger players in this movement anyway. And yeah, really happy for that the soul of football is still there, and that fans and players and the whole football pyramid still has the power to make their voice heard and make a difference, because the attitude of these owners has shown that they really didn't care, and the fact that they've had to back down has been a really pleasant surprise and welcomed.
Credit to the whole footballing community, to be honest, because I mean, obviously, it was completely out there, and everyone literally come out and shared their views. I think that helped. It helped the fact that the coaches and the players come out to also protest against it. I mean,
I still think you have to credit Chelsea
Yeah.
and Roman Abramovich the most, because this could have been a long drawn out process. Could have gone on for at least another few days or weeks, and just him seeing the protests and kind of was never really a part of it. There was already rumors that City were going to pull out because they were unhappy at the handling of the way it's been all announced and rushed through. So yeah, I still think it just needed someone one of them to take the lead. So I still don't have much time for the other four. I still think they're trying to play the moral card. We'll listen to the fans. They're a joke. They don't give a toss about the fans. They're only pulling out because City and Chelsea did, and they've been exposed to what they really are.
That's what it seems like, to be honest. Ruel, what did you make of it?
Well, let's be honest. Last 48 hours, it's been a joke. It's like the circus has turned up. The whole footballing world was shocked. I thought personally, sitting here, I was on the fence. Is it going to happen? It's not going to happen. It looked like it was going to happen. They signed a 23-year contract. There's legal side of it. UEFA have come out today the Super League have come out to say Frontier Press said they can't withdraw from that contract and there's going to be legal action. So that's another conversation. But let's be honest, it's been an embarrassment. It's been an embarrassment to the whole Premier League from the 6 club. It's embarrassment that my team is involved in it, are leading the way. It's an embarrassment that the superpowers of the Premier League have gone down this route. And at the end, they had no structure. There's nothing put in place for them to obviously go to a European Super League, and it's crumbled in 24 hours. So if something like this can crumble in 24 hours, it never had any legs to stand on in the first place. It's just an embarrassment, because when you got like Pep Guardiola, like Klopp yesterday, I watched the game yesterday. I wasn't even interested in the game because there's other things on my mind. Does this game mean anything to us? Are we going to the Super League? And Klopp's interview summed it all, that he doesn't agree with them. Pep today came out and he said the same thing. And today, I think the nail was in the coffin when Chelsea turned up to Brighton and the fans were outside protesting. And all morning and all afternoon, fans been protesting. And let's be honest, without the fans, there is no football, realistically. And once one team went and like Adil said, credit to Chelsea, Abramovich made the decision, he pulled out. Obviously, Man City officially was the first people to say they're officially pulling out. And then the other teams had to follow, because it was never going to go that way. But it's embarrassment, Liverpool, embarrassing. I'm embarrassed to be a fan for that team, with all the history we've had, and it comes to this point where
are you embarrassed of the club, or are you embarrassed of the owners? I mean, as much as owner, it's the top people that have kind of decided this.
Of course, embarrassed, by the owners, but at the same time, they represent Liverpool, and Liverpool is, everyone sees Liverpool. Not many around the world would know who John W. Henry is, or these people around the world, they see Liverpool as Liverpool, So, we in the UK, that we know that the Glazers own the Man United, we know who owns what clubs, we have that information in hand, and we know exactly thoroughly who runs the club. However, it is a really, really big embarrassment. And, John W. Henry, what? I'll say it here. He needs to leave. And then the Liverpool fans need to get out. The next game that we have.
I'm with you in that Kroenke out. Huh? I want him out.
No. It's
I want him out.
It's disgusting for them to treat the Premier League the way they treat, and the fans, especially the fans, how they treat them. Like, you don't mean nothing to us. You don't, like Adil say, don't give a toss about us, and then decided to make a decision. And then 24 hours later, like a little cat, you decide, hang on a minute, I'm going to withdraw because everyone else is withdrawing. It's embarrassing. I don't know what else I physically say, but yeah.
I personally think, they're the biggest threat to the football, and I think this ain't gonna go. They're not gonna stop. Because at the end of the day, I know a lot of people don't like the artificial way in which Chelsea and Man City have become elite clubs because of big, finances and billionaire owners financing. But I still say, but what money have the American billionaires? But everyone keeps saying the billionaire owners. Are they billionaire owners, or do they just have billionaire banks in their pocket?
That's what I was going to say.
They don't put no money in themselves. They don't put nothing in. And if you look at Arsenal, even Tottenham, they got a lot of American investment within. You look at Man United and Liverpool. Liverpool is renowned that they're on a net profit of 35 mil since Klopp has gone in. United, the Glazers take out non-stop dividends out of the club. They even took a large chunk out to save their failing mall business in America. So the club is propping up their businesses. It's nothing they're putting in themselves. Arsenal fans have been complaining about Kroenk's investment for many years.
Well, forget that. I mean, during coronavirus, they sacked, I think, or got rid of, I think, 80 staff from Arsenal. That in itself just tells you. This guy is purely motivated by greed.
Spurs claimed furlough, or attempted to claim furlough.
So did Liverpool.
It's a joke. It is a joke.
Liverpool stopped after the complaints.
Yeah,
I don't know
Liverpool
Spurs
stopped.
did. I can't remember if Spurs actually stopped or not. But these clubs are just there to take profit from the English. They're not actually adding anything. At least with the other owners, they're adding something to the league. They're adding investment. They're adding to the excitement factor. But these guys, they're taking successful clubs and they're making them unsuccessful. The only exception is Liverpool, and that's because of an amazing manager. But it's not because of anything the owners have brought in.
I mean, a lot of the money came from the Coutinho sale as well, so that helped.
But you look at Man United, where they've ended up under the Glazers. You look at Arsenal. You look at Tottenham. You look at, other than Liverpool, and you see this prime example this season, where they haven't funded the team after winning the title, and just the way they approach. But it's just the hypocrisy of their statements. They're all trying to take a moral ground, like they listen to fans. They didn't listen to fans.
They don't.
They got pushed. They got pushed by Abramovich and Sheikh Mansour. They got stabbed in the back, and they realized they don't have much clout as four.
Are they just on that point? To be honest, should there be, or is there need to be more done against these owners from, say, for instance, the FA or the governing bodies that are out there? Because clearly this is they breached their contract. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. Even they knew the risk when they went into this.
Personally, I would like to see legislation come in where owners cannot buy clubs using bank loans as a facility. I think that's just you cheating all the fit and proper tests and all the financial tests, because just because you got a bank willing to bankroll and loan you the money doesn't actually mean you have the finances to run a club, or you have the intentions to invest in it properly. And I think Gary Neville is spot on. Everyone knows Old Trafford is run down, and no work has ever been done since the Glazers have gone in. I think they got forced. They were so stingy. They got forced to put money and fix the disability section. They got forced by a report. Even then they tried doing it cheapskate and then had to do it again, put it up to standard. So they're not doing anything but taking from the game and taking from these clubs. They don't bring anything. I'd love to see some legislation.
Adi, you say that, like, if you look at Arsenal and Stan Kroenke, for an example, I think he spent 2 billion or something to build his baseball team, a new stadium. He's spending money there. He does not care about Arsenal or the football club. He doesn't care. It's evident.
See, the problem is that Hassan, in that point of view, look, let's go back where it all stems down to. The FA. Let's go back to the FA. The Premier League should maybe have stopped foreign investment from the USA. Maybe looked at maybe who's coming into the clubs, who's buying these clubs. Are they going to be benefit for the Premier League? They didn't look at it. So the FA have part to blame with this because they allowed it to happen. Now, Roman came along, Sheikh Mansour came along, Henry came along, Glazer came along, and they can see. So the FA might have, FA could have
Sheikh Mansour revamped the whole of Man City. If you look at the new stadium, what they've done, they've 100%. Changed that club.
He's investing in the city, in the club, in the local
Sheikh Mansour has 110%. He has. However, at the same time, we're not talking about Sheikh Mansour here. We're talking about Manchester United.
Just as an example in terms of
I'm looking at Liverpool. I'm looking at Tottenham. I'm looking at Man United. I'm looking at these kind of clubs where, once upon a time, Arsenal, they had, when they had Graham, what was his name? George Graham as manager. Yeah, George Graham as manager. When Wenger came along, and you had was it Mr. Hill as
David Dean as the
David Dean
chief exec, and that Hill.
Yes, I apologize. So you had people who loved the club. They saw it come from the bottom of the club, and they saw it grow. Don't get me wrong, Arsenal is a massive club. They haven't maybe not done well in the last God knows how many years, but they are a massive, massive club. And when you got clubs, investors coming in, the FA should have thought, hang on a minute, they're coming in, borrowing money, like Adil said, from banks to buy the clubs. Are they going to reinvest that into the club? Are they going to make it bigger? Are they going to develop that area? But all they see is them taking back. And Adil hit the nail on the head. Liverpool won the title, won the Champions League. However, come the summer, Liverpool have not bought no players. And all I've seen since Klopp has come is sold deadwood and bought players, and sold players and bought players. So Liverpool are only on a profit for the fact that Klopp's wheeling and dealing, and the guy who does the buying and selling at Liverpool are on point. And if he wasn't on point, then Liverpool would be obviously in debt too. Majority of these clubs, let's be honest, are in debt. Apart from like Man City, for example, they're not in debt, but they pump their own money in, so they're willing to go in the pocket. They've got an ATM machine that never stops.
It's not just that they're
not putting a loan on the club though.
Yeah,
100%.
They're actually saying this is a gift to the club.
Yes,
at least before, like Abramovich used to leave it as a loan on the club.
Yep.
So that if there was any takeover, he'd have to still get paid back. But one of the things I say is the FA should have known about this problem the moment they had the problem with George, is it Gillett and Tom Hicks?
Hicks.
Because they done the exact same thing. They were trying to run the club to bank money and leverage the clubs to get better bank deals, and that that was the problem. And then even with Portsmouth, you look at Portsmouth, who won the FA Cup, went to Europe, played some extra, had some great talent in that team. That was all financed by bank money. That Sasha Gaidamak, and what happened? They got, they went to administration. Those signs should have been enough to say, look, we need to actually not stipulate clearly, you can't run the club through bank loans or borrowing from the bank. You got to actually have the money yourself. Yeah, and I think
or you generate the money, whatever you generate. The FIFA Fair Play came into play, and I see. Let's not get me wrong. Chelsea have done a great thing by pulling out, but Chelsea broke the FIFA Fair Play. Man City have broken the FIFA Fair Play. So what? Maybe FA may need to look at it, and UEFA might need to look at it again to say, look, clubs can only spend what they get in. And maybe I don't agree on salary caps. Maybe the salary caps needs to come in. Maybe you need to condense that bubble instead of having so much expenditure, then not getting the income for them. Not this is the reason why this.
But Ruel, my point to that would be why would someone like Man City, whose owners spending on the club, would accept to something like a salary cap, just because
I'm
other guys are not putting the money in.
Yeah, but it's just an example, because what you have to understand, Man City owners, right? You're not going to get 12 Man City owners, 12 people like the chefs coming into 12 clubs.
I get it. I'm just.
It's like you play Monopoly and the bank is giving you more money and you've got unlimited money. It's not their fault they've got that money. But what I'm trying to say, for everyone to be on the same level, the reason why all this is happening is all down to money, right? We all agree that everyone's greedy for that money. Now, why can't the FA or UEFA say, okay, every club that runs in Premier League or any other club, whatever they generate, that's what they spend. Whatever transfer fees they can generate, they spend, etc., etc. But however, you got clubs that, for example, making this much money, but they're getting this much money at the end, or they're making that much money, or they're getting this much money at the end. So there is no balance in it, and maybe they might need to restructure the thing, restructure the Premier League.
I think, like, if you talk about restructure, then the biggest restructure that needs to happen is with salary, because the problem is, and this is more a traditional problem, is before clubs were run as were created and run by fans. So always whatever was made majority of it used to be spent on players to get better players to move up the league. Now that concept doesn't work when you now start running as a business, and the problem right now in football as a whole is the amount of money, amount of turnover income that football clubs generate that goes on wages. That's the biggest problem, because ultimately there's nothing wrong with these owners making profit, taking dividends. I mean, every company does that. If they're making that money, there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is the amount of money that goes on players, and that's because of agents. Like, you look, as soon as this proposal was going on, straight away you have Minarala demanding 1 million a week for Haaland and 800,000 a week for. Why? Because they just want to kill every income and profit these clubs make, and that's where the real problem isn't the fact that these clubs don't make a lot of money, because they do, but they spend too much of it on wages. Hence why the greed is, we need to get more money in all the time, because they're giving too much on wages. So I do think something needs to be done about that. Something definitely needs to be done about these agents. I mean, agents are making more than a lot of mid-table clubs, with just signing on fees. That can't be right. There's so much money going out of.
So maybe that's something that needs to be moderated.
How much of the money in pyramid is going out on agents?
Ridiculous amount.
I'll give
you a prime scenario. When we bought Coutinho from Inter Milan, for example, we bought for £8.5 million. However, when he signed, his agent got £15 million, right? And at that time, when Roger signed him and Liverpool signed him, Liverpool actually said that when we sign Coutinho, your agent will get £15 million. Once you sign, you're going to have to leave that agent. We will allocate you an agent, because they knew that the kid had future. They knew that one day he's going to go and become a more expensive player. And Coutinho signed, he left his agent, and eventually he got a new agent with the club, and then he moved on. Maybe the new thing, maybe when a player signs for a club like Man United or an Arsenal, where the club should allocate maybe an agent and say, you know what, hang on a minute, now you're our player, we will allocate you an agent. I don't think it's going to happen, but maybe it could be a step in the right direction where we don't lose a lot of money.
I don't think that would. That's
an idea.
That's not in players' interest. I mean, if it's a club's agent, then who is he representing? He's certainly not representing the player. He's representing his club. So it'd be too biased. But I think think it's a good opportunity for the whole pyramid and the whole structure to be looked at, because these issues have been ongoing for years.
Do you think the FA, the British FA, all the nations' FAs need to sit down with UEFA and FIFA and really come out with a plan to how to tackle this? Because obviously, if it's come once, I'm sure it'll come down the line again. And also, with regards to the problem, I mean, Perez said they signed a 23-year contract. How are they going to get out of that?
It's easy to get out of. I mean, let's be honest. the only reason, and this is, I mean, the truth is, and one of the, I think Kaveh Solihol in Sky Sports News said it. The truth is, the Prem clubs were the most dumbest out of everyone, because everyone knows Juventus is financially struggling.
Barcelona and Madrid are.
Barcelona owe close to $1 billion to a bank. Real Madrid close to 800 million to their bank. You know, those clubs are financially struggling. The owners of Inter are really struggling because of Corona. There's even rumors that they were considering selling the club. So, you know, the other 6 clubs in Europe are in financial difficulties. They need this deal more than the Prem teams. You know, Premier League is a great product. That gives them good money as it is.
Do you think that's why it was rushed then by Perez and those guys from the other?
No, it was rushed by the not just Perez. It's also rushed by Liverpool and Man United and Arsenal and Tottenham. The point is, it was rushed because of the revamp, because they've always wanted to push for this version of it, and what UEFA did, they held firm on keeping it according to merit, that no, we're not going to guarantee Arsenal and Spurs a Champions League spot. So really what it comes down to is this thing got pushed because the teams outside of the Champions League currently weren't guaranteed their place, which is Arsenal and Tottenham. Obviously Liverpool have got question marks around whether they're going to make it this year. So that's the real push, was that, and the fact that the revamp was announced was on the Monday. So I think this was always in the pipeline, but they decided to bring it a year forward because they didn't get their way on the revamp, and they thought if we sign up to and agree to this new deal, they were stuck to it for another cycle, which could be, I don't know how long the contract would have been for, maybe 6, 7, 8 years. So they thought we're going to have to. So it was poorly planned. They rushed it at the end.
I mean, my question now is, what happens now with these clubs and these owners? You can't go back to as if all hunky-dory and back to normal.
No,
never.
No, I think they're saying you to, once this is done, let it settle for 24 hours. And I think every team that's involved in that breakaway should be deducted 20 points. Simple as deduct points, let them not play Champions League next year, right? You know, if that means Man City loses the league title, Chelsea doesn't finish top 4, Liverpool, Man United, they need to learn a lesson. They can't be doing it, because let me tell you something now, Hassan. This is going to come back up. This ain't going to go away, right? UEFA now are thinking of putting in 6.8 billion or 7 billion into the new Champions League format to boost the revenues to combat what's happening. However, let's be honest, UEFA and FIFA are the biggest corrupted organization in the bloody world. You know, if they weren't corrupted and maybe they did it properly, then these clubs might not even push that way. So there's two sides to a story. But at the same time, at the same time,
these are old arguments. I'm saying,
UEFA
is nowhere near as
UEFA
corrupt as it used to be. Since Alexander Seferin's gone in, he's actually done a lot of proposals
100%.
that are really fair for the whole of Europe. He's been quite fair. And the fact is, they increased everything to please the clubs. They're listening to clubs. They're involved in that. They created the ECA for that reason. So they're giving more power to clubs to have a say in how UEFA is run, to have a say in how the Champions League is run. You can't knock them for what's happened under previously poor.
100%. But what I'm saying as a whole, you know, and then the UEFA represents UEFA at the time. Whenever it happened, not happened. Well, and this at the moment, like the way UEFA was tarnished, Liverpool and Man United's name, Arsenal, Tottenham name, this will never be forgotten. This will be remembered 5, 6 years down the line. Oh, they try to break away and they had to pull back out. However, FA needs to make a stand, and they need to make a stand straight away. They can't allow these teams to what they've done to get away with it.
I agree with you that they should get punished. I don't think punishing them through points or anything is the right or fair way, because at the end of the day, the whole argument is about competitive fairness.
Mm-hmm.
The clubs, the players have done nothing. This is just pure owners going on like just going on like they can make whatever decision they want, and without the backing of anyone else involved within the club. I just think it's basically a dictatorship
100%.
style. And so I think one thing, legislation needs to come in around and not allowing owners to act like dictators anyway, and make decisions for the club in such a way where there is no AGM or no agreement with shareholders. Maybe that's something they could do. But the other thing is, whatever punishment they get, it shouldn't be competitive. It shouldn't affect the way because it wasn't the clubs and it wasn't the players. It should be financial. It should be financial.
But financially, how much?
But I think to what you said, wouldn't that affect the club anyways? Because then they wouldn't go and spend what they would have spent or they would have earned, because these owners would just use the money they've earned to pay off that sum.
But you can incentivize it. Say as soon as the ownership changes, you'll get your full money back. We're going to hold this prize money. We're going to hold all of this and try and force the owners out.
I'm with you.
And
I
then
want Conte out.
Back to the club.
I want him out.
Maybe that's a good idea. I think, but Man City is like, okay, don't worry about it. It's pocket change for them. So, that's what I'm trying to say. Man City's pocket change. Robert Barry should pull out and say, here's a check. So it's not going to affect them as much.
I think everyone who were involved in these talks within UEFA know who the chief culprits are. That's why there's a reason why Ed Woodward's gone, and announced it straight away. He's getting ahead of the field. But what I don't want is all these chief executives to resign, and basically the owners hide behind the chief executives resigning. At the end of the day, the chief executives were doing what the owners want. That's their main job. And as far as I'm concerned, it shouldn't stop with just the chief executives. The actual owners need to get punished. And
the only positive thing I see out of this, and I'll be honest with you, look,
I know what's coming.
I hate Man United with a passion, right?
I know what's coming.
But I tell you, I've never seen that many Man United fans happy for a very long time that Ed Woodward's gone. And you know what? Let's be honest, Glazers are going to be the ones who are next.
To say the truth, I think Man United fans are also worried now, because one thing with Woodward was, at least he was there before the Glazers.
Yeah.
And he still was, he can be swayed. He still was able to get influenced by the traditional people within the club. So he was at least 50-50, or you would say more with the Glazers, but at least he had a connection with the club and people inside the club that could influence him. Who do you think the Glazers are going to replace him with? They're going to replace him with a complete puppet, 100% puppet, who has no affiliation to the club. So it might actually be worse for United fans. So, right now, you look at the way Woodward has changed, the way he's changed, definitely he's understood and gone back to the philosophies and the principles of what Manchester United are about. We might lose that as Man United fans as soon as you let the Glazers pick a new chief executive who only will be interested about serving their needs and being the face and taking the hit.
I think personally, what the fans need to do, and I voiced my opinion to all the fans of Arsenal, Man United. I don't know if Tottenham will do it because they're a bit funny. I know Arsenal definitely do it. Chelsea won't need to do it because Roman has invested in the club. But I think Man United and Liverpool, especially in Arsenal, I think the fans need to start protesting and maybe get these owners out of that club as quick as possible. Because no matter, under Henry, we have won the Champions League and the Premier League. Yeah, I get it, but I can see in the future that this is not going to go away until they've gone from the country or they've left.
I mean, what the FA could do is make these owners pay back the loans that they have got. Maybe start with that from their own money.
Yeah,
start with that. Put that legislation in that put your own money in and pay back the loans. because you're putting enough money in America.
The crazy thing is, the problem is with Liverpool, they're going to debt. So, you know, where'd you go with Liverpool? He's been pushing. John Henry's a very clever man, right? He's gone on debt. So he's come in, obviously, he's done the books, he's got rid of Deadwood, he sold it. He's obviously, even like this year, where he could have spent more money, he has got the money, but he knew that he's going to be out of his pocket and he's going to be in deficit from going out of his pocket. That's why we're sitting on a net spend of 35 million, because he ain't going to pull money in his pocket. Do you get what I mean? So, look, great news is that the Sixth Club, they made a mistake, right? It's happened, and, you know, in 24 hours, people around the country, fans, you know, we voiced our opinion, players, you know, have come together and they've made it, you know, either if they made a clown of themselves, they have made the right decision to pull out, and then whatever FA does with them, they need to be hard.
I mean, we're going on about this. FA ain't gonna do nothing.
Nothing.
I know. That's what I keep on mentioning.
We're relying on the government to do something. Let's be honest.
The funny thing
relying on the culture secretary to do something. No. And the thing is, I think the repercussions of this could be bad for these clubs anyway, because this is only going to make the government want to bring in the German model of 51% fan ownership.
Ownership, yeah.
And as soon as that happens, you know, these owners, you know, you're going to see them all go. You know, they're all going to sell out. They don't want 49%. They want to keep driving up revenue, taking money out, because they don't want to have to answer to fans and supporter trusts. So I think there are repercussions still to come out of this, but I just don't want it to be a blanket like, oh, they've made a mistake and that's it. Get these owners who are actually investing in the clubs out.
Yeah, then there definitely needs to be actions taken against them, to be honest. And the funny thing is, the FA only came out after all the clubs pulled out to make a statement. Before that, where were they?
I think what's happened, Hassan, is the FA have been working in the background, and I think, you know, before Liverpool even pulled out the statement of they're going to pull out, Henderson tweeted that, you know, they're against, and every player at Liverpool start tweeting the same message. So obviously there's something happening in the background, and, you know, the FA is always
that was led more by the captains of each club.
No, but Liverpool's statement was a joke. They're going on like, after talking to all these parties, not be funny. Liverpool owners know the traditions of the club. They already 100%. Know the feelings of the fans, the players. You don't need to talk to them after this.
Yeah, they're a joke.
You must be
really I agree 100%
of how the club and the feelings of the club and the players and everyone associated with the club is. If you actually need to have a conversation with them to realize the mistake you made, they're taking fans as fools with their statements. I'm sorry.
I think we need to all the supporters around the UK need to stand with it and carry on with the protest, because obviously this is something that definitely needs to change, and we want to see change. I want Kroenke out. I've been saying it for years. So this might be the perfect opportunity to get him out.
Yeah, I think the only way is through government legislation. So we're all hoping for government to step in.
I hope that does come through. Thank you both. I mean, there's loads to talk about, but thank you both for sharing your opinions. Guys, do keep watching us. Like, share, subscribe, and yeah, thank you for watching the show.